Thanks very much. So yeah, I'm Craig Skeldon. I'm the Head of Business and Operations for the University of Edinburgh's Quantum Software Lab. And I'm going to give a presentation today on Scotland's quantum technologies ecosystem with a specific focus onto computing. Before I start, I want to just get a small show of hands. Who's been to Scotland before? Wow, okay. I don't need to do too much of an introduction, but Scotland's very well known for golf and whiskey, Braveheart, castles, tartan, all of these sorts of things. But it is also a country of historical innovation, having contributed towards great technological advancements like the telephone, the steam engine, penicillin, and also more recently, Dolly the sheep, which is a good example. Innovation in Scotland, we're about 5 million people. We're one of 4 countries that make up the UK. We're the second largest behind England. And we're very much focused into commercializing deep technologies across things like artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, robotics, quantum technologies, and space technologies. We have over 20 deep tech incubators and accelerator programs in Scotland to help us to commercialize and support entrepreneurship. And we have a very much focus on to not just the commercialization of technologies, but how we're actually going to apply these into industry and sectors across things like agriculture, energy, finance, health and life sciences, and manufacturing. And Scotland has a very much a growing technology ecosystem. We have over 80,000 people working in artificial intelligence and data science. We have a growing quantum technologies ecosystem. So this is quite a complicated map. I'm sure that you probably can't read much of what's on here, but I'll explain just very briefly. The west of Scotland, Glasgow, the city region, very much focused in terms of hardware, fabrication, facilities and lab spaces. The east of Scotland very much focused into software, algorithms and applications. And this is complemented by our Highlands and Islands regions, which have very niche capabilities in technology. It takes about 40 to 50 minutes to go from the east to the west by train. So that gives you an idea of just how small Scotland actually is as a country. We have over 60 companies in quantum technologies and photonics that employs over 6,000 people. And they contribute 1.2 billion to our local economy. So these are not just investment figures, these are revenue that's being created today. And we're very much interested in terms of how we grow our capability and contribute towards the UK's supply chain in quantum technologies. Over the last 5 years, Scottish organisations and businesses have secured 40% of the UK's total R&D investment into quantum tech. It's a significant number. This is why we formed the Strategic Alliance, which is the Quantum Computing Applications Cluster. It brings together strengths in Glasgow in terms of cryogenics, CMOS, semiconductors, strengths in Strathclyde in terms of neutral atoms, and a range of other areas. Strengths in Edinburgh and our Edinburgh Parallel Computing Centre in software, algorithms and applications. And our vision at QCA Cluster is really to try and develop useful quantum applications by working with the government, by working with overseas businesses, and by working with end users. So we work very closely with the Scottish Government and Scottish Development International. We have access to a range of different funding mechanisms to support businesses. So I'd say we support businesses in probably one of 3 ways. We work with end users. We try to develop collaborative solutions towards computationally hard problems. I'm sure a lot of you saw Scott Aronson's presentation this morning, just explaining how difficult that actually is to do. We also provide consultancy advice to businesses, typically large organizations that might be thinking about starting their quantum strategy. How do they adopt quantum technologies in their business? With OEMs and software providers, we're here today at Q2B and over the last week to try and understand how we partner with large organizations overseas to support them in their collaborative research endeavors, and also to look at how we can set up joint research facilities, maybe tap into some of the labs and fabs that we have in Scotland. And then in terms of the third sector is business growth. So Scottish Development International, we do have a sort of devolved responsibility for supporting economic development in Scotland. There's a UK-wide team which is the Department for Business and Trade, and they work very closely with Scottish Development International to support businesses to expand overseas. They have 30 offices across the world, and they're lucky enough to have a team here in San Jose. So if you're based here locally, there's a team of about 5 people that you can speak to about setting up a business in Scotland. They also provide R&D grants, and they do provide tax incentives and financial incentives for businesses that are looking to set up. So that's great as well. I'm just going to give some examples of what we're doing in the educational and research space in Scotland as part of the UK National Quantum Technologies Programme. You maybe heard some of this already from Simon Benjamin this morning. So I'm afraid I'm not going to be as good as him. He was absolutely fantastic. But I'll give you a little bit more of a deep dive into what we're doing specifically in Scotland. So at the University of Strathclyde, we're launching a newly established Centre for Doctoral Training funded by the UK government in what we call Applied Quantum Technologies. So this is about training 80 new PhD students at the intersection of things like communications, networking, measurement and sensing, and quantum computing. It has two other universities which are part of this program, which is University of Glasgow and Heriot-Watt University. And it has over 30 industry partners that are working together with the students to provide real opportunities to apply research. At the University of Edinburgh, we've launched a new Centre for Doctoral Training funded by the UK government in what we call quantum informatics. This is the first of its kind PhD programme focused specifically into quantum software, algorithms and applications, as well as HPC integration. We're delivering this programme jointly with the University of Oxford, UCL, Strathclyde and Heriot-Watt University. And we have over 10 universities that are part of this from across the world. We don't have anybody from Sweden yet, so maybe that's a good start. But we do have some of the Danes, so University of Southern Denmark is involved. This is a program where for companies, these educational programs, they can get involved, they can host studentships, they can do placements and internships and all of these sorts of things. On the research side, mentioned earlier this morning, and which aligns to the 5 UK quantum missions which we have, we've launched 5 new quantum technology hubs across the UK. There are 2 that are hosted in Scotland. The first is the Integrated Quantum Networks Hub. This is hosted by Heriot-Watt University in Edinburgh. Has a number of universities that are part of it, around 10 different university partners. It's focused into sort of 2 areas of quantum networking and internet. There's a hardware focus, things like photonic network interconnects, and then there's a software focus. So trying to develop new multi-party distributed computing protocols, as well as things like security protocols and proof of work states, these sorts of things. We also have the Quantum-Enabled Position Navigation Timing Hub, which is based at the University of Glasgow. This is focused into all aspects of hybrid PNT for areas like aerospace, for timing, for GPS alternatives, and all the rest. And we also have a fab in Scotland at the University of Glasgow. For the last 30 years, they've been working with over 170 companies. And they are very much focused in terms of how they can support the development of new semiconductor technologies, cryo-CMOS, and they've done a lot of work in terms of laser diode technology for quantum sector. And then in Edinburgh, we have the Quantum Software Lab, which is around 50 people, focused in terms of how are we going to make useful quantum computing applications and how we're going to build a quantum computing software stack. This is a joint program which we launched with the National Quantum Computing Centre. It's led by Professor Elham Kashefi, who's also the Chief Scientist of the National Quantum Computing Centre. And it's a fantastic program. We have a number of industry partners, but we're always excited to build new partnerships, particularly with overseas businesses. Earlier this year, we hosted what was called Quantum Week. We're trying to create a buzz in Scotland where we bring lots of people from overseas. And we successfully did that this year. We had over 500 people from over 50 companies and over 70 universities that joined this program. On day 1, we had what we call an academic industry meeting day, which is a program developed by Uppsala University. And this is around how we get industry and academia to meet and to discuss potential solutions and trying to solve challenges together. From day 2 to 4, we had what was called Quantum Computing Theory and Practice, which is an academic conference which really looks at not just blue sky theoretical research in quantum information sciences. It goes a little bit further in terms of how we're going to apply these technologies and how we're going to make quantum computers useful. And then on the last day, we had our anniversary for Quantum Software Lab. So we had a range of different people from across the UK network, lots of leaders in government and across academia, trying to think about how are we actually going to deliver these 5 quantum missions which the UK government's investing 2.5 billion into. We're maybe a little bit insane, but we're going to be doing a 2-month festival of events in Scotland. If anyone's been to the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, this is a model that we very much like. And we're going to kick it off with 4 pillar events. We've got a quantum machine learning and Hamiltonian simulation workshop, which is a 5-day workshop taking place in the Isle of Skye. It's a very beautiful part of Scotland. I'd highly recommend it, even if you don't do anything in QML. We have what's called FQC, which is Foundations of Quantum Computing. This is an academic conference. This is very much blue sky research, foundations of computer sciences type research that's explored, and that'll be over a week. We'll have our 3rd academic industry meeting day for quantum computing. Last year we had 14 parallel workshops over one day. This year, maybe next year, sorry, we'll have even more. And we're finishing off with a bang. We're hosting the UK National Quantum Computing Centre Hackathon, which has been incredibly successful over the last couple of years. Yeah, and in terms of why we're here, of course, we are trying to build our ecosystem in Scotland. And part of that is about trying to work with businesses, to attract businesses to set up in Scotland, to try and enhance our opportunities to build these commercial partnerships. But also to try and form things like new centres of excellence where we can take our research and our expertise with your expertise and try and do something really good together. And just to conclude, Scotland obviously plays a key role in the UK ecosystem for quantum technologies. We have really well-rounded programming capabilities across skills, across research. We have various adopting innovation clusters across other deep tech areas and great opportunities for collaboration. And we have significant government support, not just from the UK government, but also from the Scottish government. And just to conclude, we also have a great program, 2 months long of networking building for anybody that's that insane to try and host it. But that's us. And yeah, thank you very much for listening. And if anyone has any questions, please let me know.